What is up, everybody? What is up? Everybody hear me all right?
Good on my end.
Birdie, welcome in. Famously, thanks for joining me tonight. Claudette, thank you for coming in. Appreciate you. We are gonna do another little expose on these clowns in Elkhart, Indiana. We're gonna continue this Joy Phillips testimony. Get rid of that music. DG1, what up? Wait for a few people to get in here, and then we'll go ahead and Pierce County Cop Watch. What up? Welcome in. How you doing? Wait for a few people to get in here, and then we'll get right to it. Damn, you are a new channel, ain't you? All right. Well, welcome in. Someone somewhere. Good to see you. Welcome in. Let a few more people get in here. And then we'll get to it. Well, you know what? We're not even going to wait for them. I can rewind it if they don't catch it. So here we go, y'all. Dreamy Lynn, welcome in. We're just going to get into this video here. Let's see how far do we got to go here. Oh, there is quite a little break here, huh? Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, there's going to be breaks. And sometimes the screen goes black. The IT people don't know what to put on the screen. It's kind of.
You shouldn't be buffering, Birdie. Here we go. It should be good here. You guys are buffering? What the hell? I'm in super good area here. It's not a buffer. It's a break in the video, guys. It's a break in the video.
To order, since everyone is present, thank you for saving us a minute on the clock. We'll continue with the examination of Detective Phillips.
Joy, I'd like to direct your attention to allegation 12, which is the summary of Prosecutor Vicki Becker's conclusions regarding your truthfulness. Could you please describe your relationship with Ms. Becker as it was prior to her writing her October 2022 letter?
I don't know Ms. Becker. She's the prosecutor. I believe when I first came back to CID back in September of 2017, I helped Detective Hauser with a case, a different Detective Hauser, not Denise, but Scott Hauser, with a case that he was actively working as kind of like an on-job training. And that case was a round table with Vicki Becker, and that was my only involvement with Ms. Becker.
Right. Has Vicki Becker ever put you on the witness stand herself?
No.
To your knowledge, has Vicki Becker ever observed you on the witness stand in any court proceeding anywhere?
No.
Did Vicki Becker speak to you about your testimony at the Board of Safety hearing that she observed?
No.
Did she obtain from you in any way information relating to your testimony.
No,
To your knowledge, has she viewed any of the evidence of the Bees 3 investigation or any of the other topics about which you spoke?
no. I think she actually testified to that she didn't even review anything. In fact, I think she even said that she didn't even think that I lied, but that I have a reputation for dishonesty.
Joy, have you in fact been disqualified from testifying in any court proceeding because of questions about your honesty?
Never.
Can you think of any reason that Vicki Becker might think that you have been determined to be an officer with compromised credibility?
I think it's a bigger picture of personal relationships and friendships with Chris Seymour and Carl Conway, and being that I seem to be a problem for them with the Court of Appeals decision and Carl Conway, and his investigation on me, and receiving a day suspension that he tells me that he didn't have to serve. And that was what led up to the end of his career. I think that Vicki Becker was upset about it. That's why I'd like the Court of Appeals and the Police Merit Commission decision or termination letter for Carl Conway entered as evidence. I think it has a lot of bearing. I didn't do anything wrong at the Board of Public Safety hearing. I didn't lie, merely saying that whatever your interpretation of me saying, you told me that you were made to write me up, or you told me that you were told to write me up, and whatever the spin of words are to saying that I never said that, that's a lie. Two different people's opinions of what happened when I know what happened, and she told me that she was told to write me up. Doesn't make me a liar. I didn't lie, but now you want to end my career. 24 years, and you want to put me as a Brady cop. And that means that I can never be a police officer ever again. I mean, I could have retired 4 years ago. I still love being an officer, but you're going to deem me a liar. You don't know me. You literally publicly stated yesterday that you didn't think I lied about anything. And now you read a letter about me when you even admitted that Chief Seymour asked you to write a letter about Carl Conway, but you didn't feel comfortable with it. When the Court of Appeals deems that Carl Conway is a Brady cop, and there's no evidence, you don't look at anything, you don't view anything, but you're going to call me a liar. I have a severe problem with that.
Joy, I'd like to direct your attention to allegation 13, which is that you distributed materials related to an ongoing criminal investigation to unauthorized persons. Did you, in fact, give records related to the Bees 3 investigation and others to your attorneys?
Yes,
Okay. Why did you do that?
because I knew that I was headed here.
Was the information that you gave to your attorneys all related to your disciplinary proceedings and to the testimony that you thought you might need to give?
Correct. And I'm glad that I did. I would not have changed a thing. That's the only information I've ever sent to my attorneys with relation to Elkhart Police Department or my position as a police officer at the Elkhart Police Department. And the email, the CJJG, it's mine. And it's been mine since 2006 because it's my daughter's initials. And my husband and I have been together since 2010. And I believe that the cyber crimes, their expert even qualified that. That's my personal email, because things at the Elkhart Police Department come up missing. And I was not going to be subjected to their word against mine. I was going to make sure that I had the proof, and I'm glad that I did.
Did you have concerns that if you didn't download these materials that you might not have access to them later?
Well, the interesting part is I didn't even download them for court proceedings. I downloaded them to prove my part of the Captain Review Board August 11th. That's why I gave them to my captains to show the discrepancies in stories and how I was never told that there was a door open, that there was no trunk open, that there were no witnesses. I never lied. But here I gave them, and I even put it in the header to the Police Merit Commission and the Board of Public Safety in bold writing at the very top of the entire header. I have these in my possession. That was in August of 2022, and nobody had a problem with it.
I want to clarify. So the initial purpose of downloading these materials was to show them to your superiors.
They got them. They received them. Travis Hamlin took them during the captain review board, which I also have on audio recording, which you have in your possession.
Have you distributed any of these materials to persons with no legitimate reason to have them, friends, neighbors, showing them, I've got really cool video of a police investigation, something like that, anything like that?
No, and I didn't even show them publicly during the Board of Public Safety hearing. Ms. Rivera did. So Vicki Becker's assumption that I was going to somehow release private information in an ongoing criminal case, our side didn't even do that. Their side did. And there was no reprimand. I didn't see anything. I didn't see her chastising or writing a letter about the city's actions. I didn't release that information to the Board of Public Safety. I said I would once it was concluded. And at the time of the Board of Public Safety hearing, it hadn't been concluded.
To your
Hey,
knowledge, have your attorneys treated these materials as confidential litigation matters and kept them only within the confines of their own offices?
Yes, in fact, I don't even think that any of my attorneys viewed these until like this week, probably.
I'm going to move on to the next allegation.
Sorry, Jeff.
Allegation 14 concerns the events of November 1st, 2022. Was that the day you received your charging letter?
Correct.
Okay. Can you just describe for the commission the events surrounding your receipt of that letter?
I was going to the end of the day. Captain Whitmire came to my office. He said that Chief Seymour needed to see me in his office. I explained that I needed to leave because I have timing to pick my oldest, up from school. And he explained it'd only be a minute. So he escorted me down to Chief Seymour's office. Chief Seymour handed me an envelope that I didn't know what it was. And he explained that I was placed on paid administrative leave effective immediately. And I asked him why, and he said, it's in the envelope. And he said, Captain Whitmire is going to escort you to your office to retrieve your police gear. And so Captain Whitmire escorted me to my office, and they took me out to my squad car, and I actually have the body-worn camera footage that Captain Whitmire was taking of me, and it's Exhibit 50, if you'd like to view it. And so therefore, when I was taken out to my car, I was explained that I was not allowed to touch or remove anything from my squad car, and so I couldn't take any of my personal belongings. And then we went back into my office, and I commenced to taking off my police gear, and I retrieved my personal voice recorder from under my desk.
Joy, just quick question.
Yes.
Did you give all your department-owned materials as requested?
Yes, everything, my badge, my police ID, my keys, my radio, every single thing. Even my holster, that actually is my holster. So I even gave them my own personal stuff. I showed them it's actually on camera if you want to see it. It's at minute 14:10 of Exhibit 50. I showed them my voice recorder, and they explained to me that I am not leaving that building with my personal property. I'm not leaving that building with my personal voice recorder. And I said, this isn't yours, this is mine, and I will be leaving with it. And they kept me criminally confined in my office. When I was able to escape my office through them, 4 of them, I was able to make it to the second set of doors, and I was cut off by Sergeant Clayball. And they confined me in that office a total of almost 45 minutes.
Joy, you just said that you were criminally confined in your office. That's a
Yes.
legal conclusion. Tell the commission the facts that lead you to believe that you were criminally confined.
I was not free to leave. I was told that the only way I would be allowed to leave is to hand over my personal property. And that I would not be leaving the building with my personal property. And that they told Rathel to call city legal to see if they could forcibly take my property off my body. It was in my pocket. They would have to manually handle me to remove it, because I was not going to give it to them. I explained to them that recording, just as I've proven during these proceedings, was my ticket to prove my innocence against Vicki Becker, Chris Seymour, and everyone else. I think that we've done a decent enough job showing all the issues with this department and the corruption with this department. If you would have allowed me to play my call, you would have seen the corruption at the prosecutor's office.
Joy, I believe that you testified that you were held in one room, and then you got out of it, and then were held in another room. Please describe what happened when you got into the second room.
Well, actually, just getting out of the first room, I will tell you that nobody should have to endure that. Okay, it'd be one thing if I wore a police vest and a uniform and there was some distance between my personal body and theirs, but just the sensation of having to push my way, my body through 4 men, and you can see for yourself the size of these men that are not allowing me, trying to get my backpack off me. And I'm realizing that if I tried to show any kind of aggression, that they could say I was resisting and that they could do unimaginable things to me. It was the most embarrassing, horrific, horrible moment of my entire career. And I have endured a lot of things in this career, as I'm sure you can imagine.
Joy, you said you had to push past officers. To whom, who did you have to push past?
Lieutenant Rathel, Sergeant Clayball, Captain Whitmire, and Captain Travis Hamlin.
As you pushed past them, did some part of your body make contact with some part of their bodies?
Unfortunately, yes.
What parts?
My chest, my buttocks, my arms. I was even trying to be polite. I was I will be honest with you, shocked is an understatement. It was god awful. And I'm telling you right now, just being confined like that was enough. I will never be allowed to be confined ever again. I have not set foot in one of these buildings or that police department ever since. And that's why I didn't attend my captain review board hearings. And it was explained to now Chief Melanies that I would not, because they couldn't even, the worst part is I was calling for help. I had to call my lawyer and have him on speakerphone, and I was texting Corporal Cody Skipper. That man right there is the reason why I got out. And he got yelled at. Denise Hauser actually locked me into the room. Okay, she got out and she locked me into the room. And he's in the hallway. He's like, hey, like, what are you guys doing? This isn't right. He went down to the sergeant's office to get Dustin Young, of all people, who stated that he was not going to help me. And Dustin Young is a Brady cop. And I find it very entertaining. And of all the accusations made against me, the fact that Dustin Young being a Brady cop isn't one of them, that I lied about that. That means that he is a Brady cop. And this entire situation began with a liar. And now they're trying to point me to be a liar. And that's ridiculous. I will not stand for it. And then, no, I'm not. And then what ended up happening is Cody went to the chief of police, Chris Seymour, who postures about mental health and all this, oh, it's about his people. And he asked to help me. And he said he wasn't going to help me either. He allowed a forcible felony within his department, 4 of his supervisors, 2 of which are internal affairs. And then to find out that while I'm being investigated and I'm now facing termination, that the sergeant of IA they just managed to sweep an investigation so the HR is investigating it. This is crazy. I've never seen anything like it. I don't even know what to think anymore. I don't trust any of this at all. And I'm glad that I recorded, because I think I've been able to show what the truth of the matter is.
Joy, how long were you held inside the department building against your will?
Over 42 minutes.
Is there anything else you wish to say to the commission?
Yes, I filed an official report. And Lieutenant Hotstetler filed charges with the prosecutor's office, and Vicki Becker declined those charges. And now I have a pending case in October with a special judge who is going to oversee the case to see if I can get a special prosecutor. And he also stated that everything I said, to include the body camera footage and the building camera footage, it verified what my version of events were. And then I asked Sergeant Clayball, specifically Sergeant Clayball, 25 times to be released. I can't imagine you do that to one of your own police officers. What will you do to the community? What will you do to members of our community? I have no doubts that my actions were 100% correct, all the way from the search warrant all the way down. And I would do it again because I'm not going to be forced to do something illegal. I'm sorry that my coworkers now have all turned on me. I'm sure they don't want to be standing here.
Joy, I think that's good, and we should reserve what remaining time we have for redirect.
Any Cross?
Yes, thank you. Isn't it true Vicky never said she didn't think you lied about anything?
I actually think that's even quoted in the ABC 57 story from
Didn't
last
she-
night.
Didn't she actually say that she had no knowledge of whether you had lied
I don't recall that, no.
and that it wasn't relevant whether you had lied?
I don't know how being relevant, whether I lied or not, being a dishonest statement, I would have to lie in order to be dishonest.
Didn't she say that it was about your reputation in the community?
That is what she said.
Isn't it true that you didn't receive any discipline from the Captain's Review Board on February 19th of 2021 that you just played for us?
Yes, that's because I would always supply my audio and proof. That's the reason why Chief Seymour knew that I was recording. I also have recordings of playing recordings for him. They also obtained my recordings of Carl Conway. That's how they were able to solidify that what I said about Carl Conway was legitimate. And that's why I had recordings of Ryan Weir. And they didn't take that into account, but they took Ryan Weir's recording of the same incident, his snippet, but they didn't have the full recording that I provided. So that's why I was able to survive the Captain Review Boards.
Today you told us that you didn't record the first meeting you had with Denise Hauser, during which she told you she was told to write you up, correct?
Oh, correct.
Could we play Exhibit 46, please? Chief's Exhibit 46.
Yeah, so Denise wrote me up for her interpreting me, turning my back on her, and not addressing her, acknowledging her, and that I've appeared to be very avoiding of her for the past month or so. And I caught her on video recording, admitting that they made her write me up, and also.
So isn't it true that you told Detectives Payne and Ronnie Barron that you caught Sergeant Hauser on video recording, admitting that she was made to write you up?
Yeah, actually, my recorder wasn't recording at that moment, so I didn't capture that. I was mistaken, but I did capture the second. That's the reason why I went back to her.
So
make
it's
sure-
your testimony today that you lied to Ronnie Barron and Detective Payne, but not to us?
No, it's not a lie, actually. It's the fact that at the time I hadn't gone through and gone through all my recording, just like I didn't before I wrote my 21-page statement, okay? That I, at the time, believed that I had captured that audio. That's the reason why I went back and captured it the second day.
Well, what's true? What you said on that recording or what you told us here today?
What's true is that Captain Denise Hauser, now Captain, stated that she was told to write me up and that it was supposed to be a supervisor counseling, but I don't know how a supervisor counseling becomes a physical write-up.
So did you catch it on video that Detective Hauser told you that she was made to write you up?
I captured her apologizing and stating that the thing with her was supposed to be minor and that it was supposed to be a supervisor counseling.
So you lied to Detectives Payne and Barron?
I can't even solidify where that audio is from, but I'm glad that I supplied it to you as you requested. I don't have anything to hide. And I don't even know who I'm talking to in that audio since they're not captured on it, but I didn't lie to them, okay? I may have misspoken because I was under the impression that I had captured that audio. I wish I had captured that audio so I wouldn't have to be standing here trying to show my proof to number one.
Would it surprise you if that audio is from the same conversation that you referenced in your testimony today with Detectives Payne and Barron, where you're asking them if they will write something for you saying that they refused to write a search warrant and they tell you that wasn't how they felt about things?
If that's the same audio of me asking Ronnie Barron and Detective Payne to write, then that would be August 11th. So obviously that wouldn't be true because that statement was already written because it went to the captain review board on August 11th. So I had already had that conversation with Denise prior to that, obviously.
Right, so you'd had the conversation with Denise prior, and you're telling them now that you had it on video recording, correct?
You know, actually, I went back through my audio just recently, and you can attest to Detective Runyon because he was listening to me replay my audio in my office, trying to capture where she had actually said anything to me about the forced write-up.
You told the captain's review board you hate who you are forced to work with, correct?
Correct.
So isn't it true that you don't know that Carl Conway had 46 policy violations sustained against him, do you?
He didn't. The chief told me, which is in another audio, which is 31, that he only solidified 2 of them. That he said that 2 of them out of 46 that I wrote out specifically, and that's in like Captain Review Board, I think Exhibit 20, where I wrote out all the violations, dates and times, and the circumstances of which he committed those policy violations. And Chief Seymour explained to me that he stated that he only found that 2 were verified of being a policy violation. And that's where he received his 1-day suspension.
Have you ever been involved in a professional standards investigation where you were doing the investigating?
As an internal affairs investigator, no.
In fact, you've never investigated an internal affairs case, correct?
Correct.
So you would have no personal knowledge about any of the investigations against others, correct?
No, I would have knowledge, especially if the officer told me.
So hearsay is your knowledge?
From the person that is directly involved, I don't know how that's hearsay. That would be second party. When I have first party knowledge, while I'm talking to the person, like say Casey Clays, and he tells me, and he admits to me things that he's done, I'm going to take him at his word.
And so throughout these proceedings, you've boldly made accusations against others when you are not in a position to have knowledge of the investigations, correct?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know. You'd have to be more specific. That's actually really broad. So if you're talking about like Sergeant Claybaugh,
Could you answer the question, please?
well, I just did.
Did you conduct any of the investigations into your own allegations of harassment against others?
Did I conduct any investigation into the harassment that I filed?
That's the question.
I don't even, I mean, that could be a broad spectrum of things. Did I record? Did I talk to people? I mean, yes, I would say I probably did things of that nature.
Were you the person in IA conducting the investigation into the alleged harassment?
No, I'm the victim.
So you would have no knowledge of those investigations, correct?
Not necessarily true. So you have to understand, people come and talk to me and they tell me, especially when we forged friendships, like Scott Hauser and I became friends eventually, and we would have open discussions about things that transpired. That's why I was able to attest that he never received a Captain Review Board letter. That's why I said in the recording that fairly certain that if he didn't receive one, then Ryan Weir didn't receive one either. I was also present at the Captain Review Board, and nothing was said about them ever being in attendance.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as Chief's Exhibit 6. This is a transcription of the conversation between yourself and Sergeant Dustin Young.
No, it's not. This is a one-sided conversation.
Right, but it's a transcription of the body camera, correct?
Transcription of what Young said to me.
Right.
Okay.
Can you point out the spot in there where Dustin Young told you there were no witnesses?
It's when I asked him, are there any witnesses or surveillance camera? And he responded, no.
Can you please point to where he says
Let me
that
find
for
it.
us?
Line 5. No, but we got stuff like, we got property like alcohol bottles and all that kind of stuff here.
So he's talking about property, not witnesses?
That's his way of solidifying that there was a burglary and trying to convince me of such.
So he didn't say there were no witnesses?
I asked him if there were any witnesses or surveillance camera, and he said no, but we've got property like alcohol bottles and all that kind of stuff here. We haven't touched anything on the actual car.
So where does he say there are no witnesses?
Like I stated, I asked him the question, and that's his response. No, there are no witnesses.
So he didn't actually tell you, no, there are no witnesses?
He said no. His exact words were, no, but we've got property like alcohol bottles and all that kind of stuff here. And I believe the next question I asked him is, was it a liquor store? Because I needed to ascertain that he could connect it to be able to help him out. But I asked, do you have any witnesses or surveillance camera? And his answer was no.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as Chief's Exhibit 5. Okay, if you could turn to page 10 and start reading the second paragraph, please.
At no time is there any discussion of Van Schoik finding a door open or a trunk open. As captured on body camera, Young never informs me of any witnesses. He actually tells me that there are no witnesses. Once again, a play on words, okay. He also never advises that Van Schoik saw a door open or state that he saw a trunk open at B's 3.
Okay, thank you. So you wrote to the captain's review board, he actually tells me there are no witnesses,
Correct, in response to me asking, are there witnesses? And he says no.
as captured on body camera.
It is captured on body camera, me asking him. It doesn't capture my audio. You can hear me talking. Okay, you can't capture what I'm saying. And he responds, no.
You claimed you were placed in front of 6 or 7 captain's review boards, correct?
Correct.
And you made that statement in your 21-page defense to the captain's review board, is that correct?
It's a letter, actually, and it kind of helps. So I talk very fast, I'm sure that you've already realized that. And so I'm very difficult to follow along with. So I write a letter out so they can read and follow along if they don't wish to listen to me.
So
It's not a testimony. It's a letter that I write. It's not a requirement. So that's my letter.
So you
that I
had
wrote.
time to think about that statement before you submitted it, correct?
Actually, I was rushed to write that statement because I, believe it or not, hadn't even reviewed the body camera footage or anything to see what I had done wrong. I was being accused of failing to do my job, to do my duty in
So-
subordination and conduct.
So when you called your own statement incorrect under oath in front of the Board of Safety, which one was correct? The statement that you wrote and submitted to the captain's review board or your sworn testimony?
You need to actually clarify which statement I said was incorrect to the Board of Public Safety. I don't think at any point in time I said that my statement was incorrect. I have nothing but the best of intentions when I've gone in the testimony to the Board of Public Safety, my 21-page report, which if you notice doesn't even have an ending to it because I was rushed out of my office to attend my Board of Public Safety hearing. I'm sorry, my captain review board on August 11th.
I'm going to play 3J for you.
Like what?
Exhibit 3J,
3J?
Chief's Exhibit 3J. So you said that this is your 6th or 7th time, once again, page 20 of your defense to the Captain's Review Board. To date, this is either my 6th or 7th time being brought before a Captain's Review Board. No one else faces the continuous harassment of internal affairs investigations at Captain's Review Boards. Why did these complaints filed against me make it all the way to a Captain's Review Board? So it's your testimony today that you have been the focus officer on 6 or 7 complaints that have been brought to a Captain's Review Board?
I have been a focus officer on a lot of complaints, some of which I've never been informed of. And so
Okay.
I don't find out until
Yes or
after
no?
the fact. I'm not going to say yes or no to a statement that's incorrect. I'm going to give you clarification.
So give me the clarification. Have you or have you not been brought before 6 or 7 Captain's Review Boards as the focus officer?
I don't know the exact number. There have been captain review boards that I have never been informed of that I was the focus officer. The incorrect statement is yours, not mine.
I was reading your statement, correct?
I was saying your statement that you were making to me was incorrect, not what I was saying.
And the
Once again,
statement
play
I
on
was
words.
making, I was reading from your Captain
No, you
Review
weren't.
Board submission, correct?
I was responding to your question being the verbiage to be incorrect. And I can give you the dates, 4/23/2020, 5/13/2020, 6/26/2020, 7/8/2020, 1/19/2021, 2/19/2021, 8/11/2022.
Do you have personal knowledge of these?
Oh,
Dates?
well, not all of them, no. You actually supplied me with one I wasn't even aware of. So I have no idea what I did on that one either. And I think I've already proven that I've been brought in front of Captain Review Board and not informed of what I had committed. And even while sitting there, not told what I had done.
Do you have any evidence of these random dates you just gave us?
You supplied them and I supplied mine back to you.
Can you please point us to those exhibits that you've put into evidence before this commission?
It's in your discovery that you sent to us. I didn't put them into my, I actually, Captain Review Board, yeah, it's in Exhibit 20.
Are you going to point them out to us?
Oh, it's a whole packet of all my Captain Review Board response letters.
Okay. In the course of criminal investigations, you have access to personal information, correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question.
In the course of criminal investigations, you have access to personal information, is that correct?
Correct.
Suspects' dates of birth,
Yes.
victims' dates of birth,
Yes.
suspects' addresses,
Sometimes, yes.
and this information is considered confidential by the Elkhart Police Department, correct?
On occasion, it could be in certain circumstances that you can also Google it. If you were to Google my name, you can find my address and my phone number.
I'm going to show you policy 41. I'm showing you what's been marked as Exhibit 41, Policy 320.5.6, A, B, and C. Could you read those out to us?
Unauthorized and inappropriate intentional release of confidential and protected information, materials, data, forms, or reports obtained as a result of the member's possession with the department. B, disclosing to any unauthorized persons any active investigation information. C, the use of any information, photograph, video, or other recording obtained or accessed as a result of employment or appointment to this department for personal or financial gain or without the express authorization of the chief of police or authorized designee.
Okay, I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 42, which is Policy 422.4.2, and I'm going to ask you to read A, B, C, and D. If you could start at the bottom there.
Accessing body-worn camera, mobile in-car camera files. A public request for law enforcement recording must be in writing. The written request must be reasonably particular and must provide the following information regarding the law enforcement activity depicted on the recording as follows: the date and approximate time of the law enforcement activity. Number two, the specific location where the law enforcement activity occurred, the name, and number three, the name of at least one individual other than law enforcement officer who was directly involved in the law enforcement activity. And then C, prior to allowing any access, I think that's supposed to say to any, but it says to law enforcement recording, the request must be reviewed by the officer or employee with the EPD who is on duty at the time of the request and who is trained in public access to law enforcement records. D, the officer or employee with EPD who's on duty at the time of the request and who is trained in public access to law enforcement records shall contact the city legal department prior to allowing access to any law enforcement recording to, and once again, it says but I think it means to imply any person or entity in the public.
And as an Elkhart police officer, you are sworn to follow the rules and policies of the department, correct?
So this is actually the new policy. And the one at the time, I believe, actually has a header that this applies to the public, not to police officers.
Are you going to show us that?
We can take a quick break here and get you guys' thoughts so far. Comments, questions, concerns? No? Famously, you have anything to add?
No, I was just looking up some stuff a minute ago.
No. All good. What's up?
These hearings lead you down all kinds of rabbit holes, man.
And we'll say it again here, guys. When you're seeing information like what's on the screen highlighted, that's information that you guys should go look into. That's why I highlight them. It's for you guys to go check into if you have a chance, or open them up in another browser, or whatever. Check these links out. There's a lot of information that'll lead you down the path. All kinds of information being put out in these. We do have a video from 2010 that shows exactly how South Bend was treating Miss Joy Phillips. We'll save that for a little bit later. But yeah. Oh yeah, there's a blatant contempt for Joy Phillips for sure. Probably because she's a whistleblower and they don't like that. You try to be a good cop in today's day and age, and they all gang up on you and push you out. It's exactly what they did to her, it seems like. Now, I'm not going to say she's a good cop, because we haven't really looked into her background too much. What we're doing is just putting the shit out there and letting you guys make your own decision. It may come a time we dig into her a little bit more, but it seems like she was trying to do the right thing. So that's just my opinion.
Well, she worked at South Bend, and there was a lawsuit that she had against South Bend when she worked there for discrimination and harassment or whatever, and she went to Elkhart from South Bend, and she was a detective. She like for 6 years or whatever, and then, as you can tell, obviously her disciplinary record in Elkhart, they didn't present very much in these hearings as far as what her record was. It was all about the bickering in the detectives bureau. Like, it seems like every time these guys it's like a bunch of play babies, in a room. They can't get along with each other for the life of them. But you're supposed to trust these people to, you know, do their due diligence and investigations and things like that. But on the other hand, the chief and the prosecutor are trying to remove. The prosecutor shouldn't be talking to any of these people and swaying an investigation. Um, in no regards. You've seen the testimony of that. Not to mention the wrongful convictions came out of this same detective bureau that we're having problems with. Like, when do you take it serious? And then the chief has enough audacity to say, "Oh, I don't want to go back 30 years." Well, shit.
I think the people that have been wrongly convicted would like to go back over the last 3 decades and review cases.
Yeah,
I think the
where
families of those that have died in prison over being falsely accused and shit would like to go back over it.
or the people that the wrongful convictions, these are unsolved cases. That means somebody did these crimes and they've either messed up the investigation so bad that they'll never solve it, or they're covering for somebody else's ass. And that's with the behavior of the department and everything else. That's it. And the mayor saying he doesn't want to investigate it. It's not his job. It is his job. He appoints the chief. The chief is the one that tells his investigators what cold cases to investigate.
Right.
So, I mean, it's embarrassing. It is. So, I mean, who else are they protecting? Steve Rizzuto, you know, he offed himself because of it when all this stuff was coming out, or did he? Or did he? You
Yeah.
know,
Today, accidentally off him. You know,
well, you never. What
a
can you believe?
phantom death.
Yeah,
There's
I
so
mean,
much what you're seeing just on this, guys. If you go back and look at the last live panels we did, a lot of that information ties into what we're dealing with right here. They're
and
all
it goes right up into the judges, man. These judges worked in the prosecutor's office. You've got judges from Elkhart that, you know, pulled firearms on children because his daughter ran away and got, you know, he was basically resigned, just barred or whatever he was, taken removed from the bench. His wife stole hundreds of thousands of dollars from the country club. You've got a sitting judge that was in a law firm with him. You've got former prosecutors that worked in this prosecutor's office that defended nefarious prosecutors. We went through that are sitting in circuit court judge positions all the way down through. And they let these hearings, all these cases go through their court. And you're supposed to be a judge and you're not questioning this? And then the prosecutor has enough audacity to write a letter and say that she can't trust the integrity of an officer or a detective when she sat in the detectives bureau with Conway. And while Royer was being questioned, she admitted she was in and out of that room, and she laughed about it in that ABC 57 interview. How I don't think he lied. No, I don't. Well, no, you don't, because you're saving your own ass. You know, but you're saying that this officer's credibility is, you know, questionable and can't be used in criminal proceedings. Miss Becker, when you walk into these courtrooms to prosecute these big cases that you've uh, been elected on, let's get into that in a minute. Do you announce to the court that you're shady as fuck too? No. Miss Becker, how many of these wrongful convictions did you campaign on? How did you get elected? On wrongful convictions? I'll drop the mic there.
right. It's unreal. Um, and a lot of this can be tied into the big university that's there, guys. A lot of these judges, prosecutors, they all come from Notre Dame. They're all tied into the city. They all run bars and stuff that are running some kind of shady shit out of where college students are, college females are waking up in strange houses, not knowing what happened. There is so much going on here. It's not even funny, guys.
Well, who works security in all your bars? Off-duty law enforcement officers. Why? Put two and two together. What's open until 3 o'clock in the morning? It's not Walmart. It's not Meijer. It's not the grocery store. You can't buy diapers and wipes and formula after 11 o'clock at night. But you can get liquor at the liquor store. You can go to One Stop and get all the paraphernalia you need. And you can go to the bar and get poisoned in your drinks and end up at somebody else's house with your crotch blown out, not even know what to say or who to call.
Absolutely. Yep. This is
Sickening.
all going on in this area. That's why we did the last panel, and that's why this panel ties into the last. It's just all connected.
Who owns Tri-State Security in Elkhart County? What or east of the Mishawaka line? That's Chris Seymour, the ex-chief police that ordered them to hold her in the room.
Yep.
All that. Resigned, probably because save his pension. He was also involved with an investigation where a detective from the Elkhart County Sheriff's Department, him and his wife got into it, Chris Seymour. What happened to that detective? He's in Tennessee. He's an insurance rep now. You know,
Kind of
so,
funny how that happens, huh? What about the deputy prosecutor that was accused of diddling on his own kid, and they protected him too?
There's no statute of limitations in Indiana for sex offenses. Why is he running free? Well, when a school fails to report something, or when an organization, anybody fails to report something, when they have the due diligence to report something immediately when they hear it, what about the prosecutor? They just cover. Oh, it's okay. We'll what are they sending to some kind of counseling? How to be a better prosecutor or something? To lie better or what? I take I question the integrity of that.
The whole system, the integrity of the whole system is a question at this point.
That's right.
So, if you guys have questions, ask away. I don't know a lot about this area. Famously does. You can ask Leo Watcher. He'll provide you with links and information too.
I mean, I haven't never hit it. I grew up in the system in Elkhart, so I remember Chris Seymour taking me to my juvenile waiver hearing and saying it's best that you just accept your waiver because they'll go more lenient on you. It was Chris Seymour and it was Joe. I forget his last name, but he was head of Boys and Girls Club, or he would work with Kevin Deering at the Boys and Girls Club of Goshen. They were all juvenile detention center staff. There's like back then, it's just the way they are, dude. They're and then like she brought it up about he's all for his mental health. Uh, look up Oaklawn in this area that does all the mental health. You know who sits on the board of directors at Oaklawn? Brad Rogers, ex-sheriff or captain of the sheriff's department. The current sheriff of the sheriff's department sits on the board of directors of where the courts send you to get mental health treatment and shit. Like you don't find a conflict of interest in that, like ulterior motives.
Not to mention the judge that sat on all the children's cases that's now presiding over adult cases.
Oh, well, the same people he dealt with in juvenile. That's right, Bonfiglio.
Yep.
Yeah. It never
ends. Let that sink in, guys. The guy that was taking care of juvenile courts for 20 years or so, or whatever it was, is now here. There you go, guys. There's some information. There's Whale Watcher. See, dropping links, dropping information. The guy that was prosecuting or presiding over juvenile cases, guess what? Those kids grew up and they have to deal with the same fucking judge. And he knows their background and can pull it up because he's a judge when it should be sealed.
He's a weirdo. He likes blonde-haired little boys. That's why he victimized all of them.
Just you guys be mindful of the stuff in the chat that I highlight like that. Links that famously is dropping, links that info that Leo is dropping. It's all relevant to what's going on in the video. So that's why we highlight it, guys.
See, I'll be 100% honest with you guys. When they see us out there with the camera, they think, oh, it's these guys with the cameras again. They have no clue of all this shit that we're researching and what we've discussed and who we've discussed it with, or none of that. There's a reason we do what we do. And that's the reason of that is what did this lady say right here, Rose Rivera, that she wanted to redact this public hearing right here. she didn't want none of it getting out. That's why
The
we do
very,
what we do, because your media
very,
ain't doing it.
yep, the very first video we did, episode 1, the first sentence out of her mouth, or sentences, was, we need to redact this because we don't need the general public seeing this or hearing this.
Yep.
That's how we started this series.
And there's a Case
That should,
Wheels post in there. I remember the guy that filed that lawsuit. He did it pro se, but there's rules of the court and stuff, so it, his arguments fell mute, on deaf ears. But he had legitimate arguments. These were some of the same kids that we were locked up with back in the days. Like in these situations, abusive foster homes, group homes. So these people, like,
this
we
is
were
just,
being researched on for the shit that they got
this is
going on
evil.
today.
This is
They're
fucking
horrible.
100% evil.
They take every word you say, your kids say, or anybody else, and they twist that shit. You can correct them and let them know how you're portraying it is wrong, and they still go in there and hold their right hand up under oath and perjure themselves in these courts. It's all about what they want done in their narrative, and they won't even let you get a word in edgewise. Sit down and you shut up. You'll get your chance. When?
When they say that you can't.
At the Revolution? Where? In 1776? I don't know when we got our voice, but let me know.
And guys, just so you know, everything's here is fair use, and we hope that you guys share this out there. We want to get eyes on this situation. That's the only reason we're doing this. We want eyes on the situation. We want to expose this shit. Because
You can't go to your
if it's
court
happened,
now.
no, you can't.
It's all video court, and if you dare, God forbid, record it, it's like I encourage you, if you're not from this country and you can get on the court streams, I don't think it applies to you. I think that's what I mean. I can't stream them. I can't record them. But hell, I mean, I'm sure if you're in Moscow, you can. Are they going to come get you? I mean, just so you guys know, there are Indiana court streams. There's court streams in usually every state. But we can't get it out there. You can sit and watch these court streams and watch how.
Well, technical issues. Hold on just a second, guys. Just a second. We'll get him back in here. Hold on just a second, guys. I think he bumped a button or something. He'll be back in. Yep. Here, we'll do this. There he is. Technical issues.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, guys. I don't even know where I got from.
You're good.
But you've got a magistrate that arraigns people, only the Spanish people, because they got to translate all these hearings out of Goshen in Elkhart County. We got a very big Spanish population. That's a big failure. They don't even know how to talk to these people. So that tells me that when these people were arrested or searched or pulled over, they didn't understand what rights they had going into this court of law or whatever. I mean, there's big holes in the justice system here in Elkhart County. It hasn't just been 10 years, 20 years. We're talking 30, 40 years of consistent corruption. And,
Back to when the Wolverine started.
I mean, it's in lawsuits. It's written all the way through. I mean, a lot of attorneys are doing a good job, like Elliot Slozar, Vicky Becker, and Judge Teresa Cataldo. They tried to, basically, they put a gag order on it. Couldn't talk about nothing, like, an attorney representing the people for wrongful convictions can't talk about nothing. Well, guess what? We can. We elect these judges, prosecutors.
Yeah, we'll be that voice. And
But
just
what
keep in
happens
mind,
Go ahead.
keep in mind, Vicki Becker is the prosecuting attorney for Elkhart County. She was in the room when they were interrogating Andrew Royer.
Mhm.
In the room while they were interrogating a potential suspect, guys.
Mentally
In the fucking
handicapped
room.
man. He
Yeah.
wasn't a suspect. He was a mentally handicapped resident of the Elkhart Housing Authority.
Which all the cops have keys to.
Exactly. I mean, it just goes. It's just a repetitive. I understand, like people will say, well, they need to do, we need them to do their job and all that. We need them to do their jobs. You're correct. If they
Yep.
did their jobs, we wouldn't be paying millions and millions of dollars in settlements for wrongful convictions. Andrew Royer hasn't settled yet, so
That's going to be big.
Chief Cooper got a record. Andrew Royer hasn't. They haven't settled with him.
That's going to be a big one.
There's other cases coming back too. It's not just Andy. There's a bunch of other guys that are sitting with no help, none.
It seems like a new case is coming out every month too.
Every time they pop up for a gasp of air and freedom, guess what? The long arm of the law pushes their head back underwater for years of appeals and court cases and hearings before they get an answer. That's what happens. They bury you in the court system, and you're lucky to get out.
Yep. All right, guys, we're going to get back to it here. We've talked for long enough. Again, we're trying not to pause it too much. We want you guys to watch the video, not hear us talking, but we will interject with some information. Also, may not be able to call you guys out when we see you in the chat, but we see you. Appreciate everybody coming in. Let's get back to it.
Let the record show that the witness is examining and comparing papers.
So in 422.4.2, the very first one, a public request for law enforcement recording must be in writing, which implies that it is for the public, not for a law enforcement officer.
Wait, why does it imply that?
It says it's made for the public.
Where does it say that?
Right here, I'll be happy to give it to you. Accessing body-worn camera, mobile in-car camera files. A public request for a law enforcement recording must be in writing, public. This is in defense of proving my innocence. It wasn't public and I didn't make it public.
So you're saying the fact that can you please point this out? I'm having trouble even finding this. So what you're saying is, so the language hasn't changed, and 422.4.2 A says a public request for a law enforcement recording must be in writing. So a public information request, you're taking the word public in public information request to mean that it didn't apply to you?
Well, correct. I have access to all the audio and video. It's in the scope of my job.
So in 420, just further down, if you turn to C, prior to allowing any access to law enforcement recording, the request must be reviewed by the officer or employee with EPD who's, hold on one second.
I'm sorry, where are we at?
So what you're saying then is that you, as an EPD officer, were allowed to share these videos with your attorneys just because you were an employee?
As a whistleblower, I'm able to share these videos with my attorneys. In keeping my job and safe from illegal litigation, I'm able to share these videos with my employee to show that a Elkhart citizen could have been wrongfully convicted of some crime that he did not commit. I am obligated to share these with my attorneys.
Have you ever filed a public records request with the Elkhart Police Department?
I never had to.
Did your attorneys ever file a public records request with the Elkhart Department?
I have no idea.
You were not assigned as an investigator to the Beast 3 burglary investigation, correct?
I wasn't assigned, no, but I was a participant.
And you downloaded videos from evidence.com associated with the Beast 3 burglary, correct?
Correct.
You also used a camcorder to record videos from evidence.com, correct?
The same videos of the same depiction on the video.
You kept a copy of those videos for yourself, didn't you?
Well, I gave them to the Captain Review Board and I retained a copy for the board, the Police Merit Commission and the Board of Public Safety, as I indicated in my statements.
And you provided me with copies of the videos you had taken, correct?
I made copies for you, yes.
And
Are you public?
those videos are unredacted videos, correct?
Correct.
They contain IDAX information in some of them, correct?
No, you can't even view it. You can't see it unless, of course, you have the means to scrutinize it that you can, but I don't have those capabilities.
But someone could, correct?
I have no idea. They wouldn't be in the hands of somebody that could because I wouldn't release them to somebody that could.
And you turned those things that you had taken in violation of policy into this commission, correct?
Did I bring the videos that I took? Well, I mean, they're not in the same format. I actually took your redacted off of Travis Snyder's and I attached it to our exhibit list because we didn't receive that, the one without the redaction.
I didn't expect it, so.
So you testified today that you needed to delete your body camera video because it had recorded you speaking with your colleagues, correct?
No, I had it deleted because it contained a private conversation with my husband.
But you said that you would be in violation of policy if you didn't because it had captured you speaking with your colleagues, and that's prohibited, correct?
I actually stated that I didn't know if it captured me speaking to my colleagues. That was an accusation actually that I found in the accusatory charging letter that I may have deleted evidentiary evidence. And I thought that that was an interesting statement, especially since I went to the wrong address and knocked on the door of nobody that was there, didn't encounter the public.
Hold on just a second, guys. Bump the damn button again. Hold on.
You break, you buy.
You break, you buy. Number one, break everything, guy. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. We'll back it up just a few seconds here.
Did I bring the videos that I took? Well, I mean, they're not in the same format. I actually took your redacted off of Travis Snyder's, and I attached it to our exhibit list because we didn't receive that, the one without the redaction.
I didn't expect it, so.
So you testified today that you needed to delete your body camera video because it had recorded you speaking with your colleagues, correct?
No, I had it deleted because it contained a private conversation with my husband.
But you said that you would be in violation of policy if you didn't, because it had captured you speaking with your colleagues, and that's prohibited, correct?
I actually stated that I didn't know if it captured me speaking to my colleagues. That was an accusation, actually, that I found in the accusatory charging letter, that I may have deleted evidentiary evidence. And I thought that that was an interesting statement, especially since I went to the wrong address and knocked on the door of nobody that was there, didn't encounter the public, and I didn't commit a traffic stop. And those are the requirements for recording the public, your interactions with the public, and I had none.
Okay. So you thought, you think it's okay to secretly record your colleagues?
Yes. Actually, it's not secret. They all know I record. That's the interesting part.
And in some of these recordings, colleagues are discussing their medical issues with you, correct?
I don't know what's on all of them. You asked for all of them and I gave them to you.
And in some of these recordings, you can be heard playing evidence.com videos, correct?
The videos pertaining to this case, yes.
And the chief never gave you permission to use an audio recording device, correct?
He never disapproved me because he knows that I've been using it. It's not audio either. The camcorders I'm allowed to use because those are EPD property. When Sergeant Claybaugh testified that he found cameras in my office, those are EPD camcorders. They're not mine. That's why they're still there. And those would be used by CID detectives. So Chief did know that I was using camcorders, but not in this context. It's within the realm of my job. My recorders don't record video, like visual, except for my pinhole camera that you can see actually in the Article 50. It's on my desk. It's not plugged in. And it's a pinhole camera that I utilize when I would leave the office to record people accessing my office with the use of a key because my office is secured. And that does not record audio. That only records visual. But my other recorders do not record visual. They only record audio.
In your Board of Safety testimony, you allege that Sergeant Dustin Young didn't have any of the information that is generally required for calling a CID detective into work, correct?
Correct.
But so you would agree that him collecting information for 45 minutes and telling you that information for 7 minutes on a phone call is definitely some information, correct?
So he interviewed witnesses to the crash. It's not significant to a burglary. It's significant to a crash. And he had already interviewed the witness that I was being sent out to Copus Green twice. And that same witness was then interviewed a third time by Sergeant Roundtree at the police department. That's another video that I had kept.
Who determines if you are called into work?
Well, so that's the interesting part is at the time, there was such a conflict between CID and the patrol because they had been calling in excess for things that were deemed somewhat trivial. And that was the reason why there was such controversy over this call in because Brandon Roundtree stated that if like we were to just come in and that we had to have like lock-in reasons and write it down. That's why we had on-call summaries that we had to provide, because that way then Captain Whitmire could show patrol the abuse of CID detectives.
Just one question about the recording device. If everyone knew that they were being recorded, why did you have the device hidden under your desk?
It wasn't under my desk, actually. It was, I have a Versa desk, I have a standing desk, and it was lowered, and it was on my desk, so when you lower it, it actually sits on top of my real desk, but under my standing desk. I don't know if you're familiar, but there's a gap between both of them.
So back to who determines when you are called into work?
Oh, a supervisor myself.
Okay, and on July 12th, Dustin Young was the person calling you into work, correct?
He didn't call me into work, okay? He said that he needed help with the investigation. And I was trying to conclude what help he needed, what I could do. Sometimes we would respond to the hospital, sometimes we'd respond to the PD or go to someone's house. And he couldn't even give me guidance on that. I figured he'd want me at the hospital, but he didn't request that. Instead, he hung up on me.
And
Therefore-
Dustin Young is a sergeant, correct?
Oh, yes, he is a sergeant.
And so that makes him your superior, correct?
He is a superior to my position, yes.
Are you required to take the direction of a superior?
If he gave me a direct order, then yes, but he didn't.
So if he just tells you to come in and assist, that means it's discretionary?
Well, being that he couldn't answer any of the questions pertinent to this case, I wasn't going to stand around and earn a paycheck coming all the way into Elkhart when I could assist him better by asking questions first to ascertain what kind of assistance he needed.
Do you still have Chief 6 in your possession?
Oh, I don't know. What am I looking for?
The transcription. If you could turn to page 29, line 2.
There's her salary for
When
those
Dustin
wondering.
Young said to you, we had a burglary here, we're asking for assistance here. It's your testimony today that that didn't mean you had to come in?
Actually, that's not an order. He's saying that we need assistance here.
So he needs to, it's discretionary if he doesn't order you?
We actually, as detectives, have discretion on whether or not we have to come in or not. And by believe it or not, there's actually, I've never not come in. I've always come in. Every single time I've been called, I've come in. Even when I
Didn't you play a video recording for us where you failed to come in because your Apple iPhone watch didn't go off?
No, I did come in, actually. That was proven to be a lie by Sergeant Roundtree. I did come in.
You missed the call.
I missed the first phone call from dispatch, yes. They didn't call me a second time. I woke up intermittently in the night, saw that I missed the call, called them, realized a scene was going on. I responded to the police department and tried to assist. And
Sergeant Runyon was leaving, secondary was leaving and had finished the work by the time you came in, correct?
So Detective Runyon and I actually spent some time in my office, and we went through at why I missed my phone call. That's why we were able to obtain the information that my watch, my new Apple Watch, had sent my phone into sleep mode and not allow me to be disturbed. And we did that by sitting in my office and making phone calls.
So if you can turn to line 8 on the same page of the transcription there, when Dustin Young says, we need you to come out here and help us with this investigation. It's your testimony today. You weren't required to come out and help.
If you listen to the body camera, this is after he hangs up on me. And this is him talking to Lieutenant Snyder. In fact, it's like, hold on. Oh, I'm sorry. He says it twice. Okay, so we need you to come in here and help us with this investigation. I'm sorry that his idea and my idea are different. I wanted to know what I could help him with. And at no time on any video does he tell me any direction, like, can you come in and do a photo lineup? Can you come in and interview witnesses? Can you come in and try to look over evidence of a burglary? Can you do any of those things? I'm asking him a direct question.
Did
What
Sergeant
can
Young have to prove to you that a burglary had occurred before you
Counsel,
were required
the
to come in?
witness should be allowed to complete her answer.
Actually, I'm sorry, repeat your question. I don't want to misspeak.
Did Sergeant Young have to prove to you that a burglary had occurred before you were required to come in?
I mean, that would be nice to prove that a crime committed. I believe that's actually in patrol response policy.
That your superior has to prove to you a crime has been committed for you to be required to come in?
So that is the reason why you call a detective, is to ascertain once a crime has been committed, what they need. Okay,
Isn't it
that's what
your-
a detective does. They investigate a crime.
Isn't it your job to investigate?
Once a crime has been committed, yes.
Isn't it your job to gather the evidence?
After the crime has been committed, yes.
Isn't it your job to prove the crime was committed?
No. If you like, I can go to the policy of patrol response.
That's okay.
Of course, they don't want to see facts.
On call to meet up with Officer Van Scoik and gather all the facts, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't.
So what's the standard? Did Sergeant Young have to have probable cause before you were required to come in? Reasonable suspicion?
Direction.
It's clear you have your own standard that had not been met. Is that correct?
No, it's my perception that he didn't have enough.
And that perception is not written down on the CID on-call guidelines, correct?
Oh, I don't know. He didn't have correct information. He didn't have any information, and he couldn't prove that a burglary had occurred. So, of course, I'm going to ask questions. I listened very pointedly to what he said. He said the officer drove by, saw a car sitting outside that door. Not that the door was open, no trunk open, nothing, not people around it, not breaking in actively. He said that he flipped around, giving the indication that officer was right back at scene almost immediately, which he wasn't. because you can prove it by the dispatch on call. There was a good, almost 10 minutes lapse. A lot can happen in those spare moments. He had enough time to drive down the road, call a complainant. The complainant had enough time to get in her car, drive to the business to see a car leaving, in which she followed at 100 miles an hour. Yeah, I'm going to ask questions.
So when she followed 100 miles an hour, did you think that was a crime?
Actually, he said that she followed, and that she followed them. They were driving 100 miles an hour.
Okay. Is that a crime?
Driving 100 miles an hour through the streets of Elkhart, yes.
So there you had crime with substantial bodily injury?
I don't investigate on-call through traffic accidents, I believe is stated on the guidelines. That's why we have a fact team.
Okay, so you said that you were one of 4 detectives to refuse to write a search warrant and the only one to be reprimanded, correct?
Correct.
Can you tell us, you claimed the search warrant was illegal, correct?
Correct.
What about it was illegal?
The fact that you couldn't prove that a burglary was committed, and the fact that there was no registered owner to the vehicle, we couldn't solidify anything. The driver, I believe, was found several blocks away. And in fact, even because he admitted that he was a driver, great, but also nothing was stolen from the building. And on
Okay.
the-
Sorry, this is,
I mean, I
could
can
we,
continue. You're asking about me to develop why it was illegal.
so you started with you couldn't prove a crime had been committed. So is the standard for a search warrant that you need to prove a crime can be committed?
So burglary has some indications that would make it a burglary. And when those aren't met, that's good starting point that a burglary would be known if it happened or did not happen. If there had even been a broken window that someone could have crawled through, that would be a burglary. But we didn't have that.
Don't you use a search warrant to help prove your case?
I mean, on occasions, yes. I mean, it's a helpful tool, obviously.
And isn't the standard probable cause?
Is the standard probable cause to ascertain for a search warrant? Is that your question?
Yes.
You need probable cause. Yes, it'd be nice to have some probable cause for an affidavit.
So by definition, you don't have to be able to prove a burglary when you're writing a search warrant, correct?
I have to be able to prove that everything I put into that affidavit is the truth.
But you don't have to prove the burglary because that would be beyond a reasonable doubt, correct?
If in that circumstance, I would have to prove and attest to the fact that what was being told to me and relayed to me was the truth, and I would not, because I couldn't ascertain that it was the truth.
What was untrue about the facts you had in front of you?
Well, for number one, at no time is there any mention of this trunk being open. Okay, I'm never told that the door was open.
So are you saying those are lies?
I'm not saying that they're lies. I'm just saying, why wasn't I told? If they were such an important factor, why was I never advised of them? I read those in his report on the 14th.
Did you ask your investigator?
Actually, Detective Janice and I had quite a few conversations about this case. I don't know if I asked him specifically about whether or not it was proven. I didn't, that's not my position. It became my position when I was falsely accused of lying.
So when Van Scoik said the door was open and when Van Scoik said the trunk was open, he's a liar?
So you can hear him tell Lieutenant Travis Snyder that I drove by and this door's open. And in his report, he says door. There's no indication. It's not until deposition that he says the overhead door. That'd be nice to know. In the transcription and all of this with Dustin Young, he never informs me that the door is open. He never tells me about a trunk being open. He never tells me about the car being backed up. He just says that car is sitting outside that door.
So that means he's a liar?
Saying that he might have misspoke.
And then he wrote that in his police report and misspoke in his police report?
There was a lot of questions that I had as a detective, and especially when it comes to his word against mine, and there's a video of his conduct at the scene, and there's no mention of a trunk being open, I'm going to question it.
Detective Payne eventually agreed to write the search warrant, correct?
Yes,
Detective Ronnie eventually agreed to write the search warrant, correct?
for Payne, but not for Sergeant Roundtree.
So in the end, You and only you refused to write the search warrant, correct?
Correct.
And isn't it true you were never reprimanded for that insubordination?
Well, that's where it changed because the original write-up is failure to do my duty 2 times, and insubordination and conduct. And then at the captain review board, at my disciplinary meeting with Chief Seymour on August 16th, 2022, I'm informed that I omitted facts and factual material. And I have the recording. It's actually in the Seymour, Ray, and I disciplinary, August 16th. You played snippets of it. I implore you to listen to the entire thing. I ask, what did I omit? And Chief Seymour says, I'll give you a full list of what you omitted. I never received that list. And even Captain Whitmire stated that he would supply me with a full list of all the things that I omitted. And I still think sitting here today, that list hasn't even been proven to even exist. Because I don't know what it is still today standing here that I omitted.
You said you were able to observe Van Scoik first open a locked door and that then he wrote in his report that he observed the door open, correct?
Correct.
What were you trying to tell the Board of Safety when you said that?
The truth. That's what we stated. He stated that the door was open and that I saw his body camera footage where he forced the door.
Were you trying to insinuate or say that Michael Van Scoik had done something wrong?
No, actually, the interesting part is if you notice my 21-page report, I don't even name him. I actually just write vague about the EPD officer forcing the door so they could do their own research into what they saw. They could view their own video and see who it was.
So it was just totally accidental. It happened to come off as if you were accusing him of inventing a burglary?
No, I was being accused of committing lying now, omitting facts. And that is the direct reason why I had to go in front of the Board of Public Safety to defend my honor and my integrity. So yes, I'm going to bring it up because it's a very important part of this proceeding, that he forced the door open. And even in his own testimony and admission, in deposition and standing here in front of this board, he admitted to forcing the door. It wasn't an incorrect statement.
You force your bedroom door open every morning when you wake up, right?
My bedroom door actually stays open all the time.
So were you trying to say he was strong?
I'm stating a fact. He forced the door.
What made you determine the door was locked?
Maybe it's locked. Oh, is it locked? Well, it shouldn't be. Oh, maybe it is. I don't think you can ascertain anything. We all watch the same video. And then that's something I would like to clarify. You put that half video of Travis Snyder's body cam when he'd already been working on the door and was able to get it open, trying to show and indicate the door was already open. And that's halfway through the video that was shown to you members of the board.
So you're still saying the door was locked?
In my opinion, it looks as if the doorknob handle is actually still engaged because when he goes to move it, it doesn't give like a normal handle would give.
And what's your point?
Just what I stated.
So you're not trying to say Michael Van Scoik did anything wrong?
I'm saying that Michael Van Scoik forced the door.
What did Michael Van Scoik's potential policy violation have to do with your grievance in front of the Board of Safety?
I am being accused that grievance, okay, was because I was never interviewed. They never got my side, but now they're going to say that I lied and omitted facts.
You didn't report your concerns to professional standards, correct?
I didn't get a chance to go to professional standards. I faced the captain review board.
You didn't report your concerns to Sergeant Hauser, correct?
I don't know if I actually did or did not. I think that recording that I have states about the hits keep coming and the false allegations levied against me. I think that's actually in the recording that I've supplied.
Wasn't it you making the false allegations against others?
No.
You didn't report your concerns about Van Scoik to Sergeant Roundtree, correct?
I don't know. I think it came into play after the fact because I didn't even know that he had forced the door until right before my captain review board and I started to review video.
You were in trouble and you wanted to get someone else in trouble, correct?
Oh, no, I hate this. I hate every bit of it. You leave me no choice. That's why I've kept all this a secret for so long. I've got more, but it's not the forum.
When you buy a car, isn't it true you must insure that car before you can title it at the BMV?
Correct.
And so you're still the owner even before you've titled it at the BMV, correct?
I believe that that insurance is carried by Mr. Grant's girlfriend, which would make her, I think it's been solidified that she was the person who purchased the car also, and she carries the insurance on it, which would give the indication that it's current and not a previous owner or previous insurer, if that's what you're trying to conclude.
Well, can you tell us the basis for your allegation that the consents were invalid to search the Cadillac?
I'm sorry, say your question again.
What was the basis for your allegation in front of the Board of Safety that the consents were invalid?
Because of the ownership of the vehicle and the fact that it wasn't involved in a burglary.
What does the fact about whether it was involved in a burglary have to do with whether consents are valid or not?
Well, what would be the reasoning for us to get into it then? It would just be a citizen's vehicle. And if I could go write a search warrant for a citizen's vehicle, then I don't think anybody is safe.
So the consents were valid? Is that your testimony today?
What consents?
The consents
To
that,
search the vehicle? I have no idea. You didn't supply any proof. You didn't give us any video. You didn't give us anything, but yet it's documented that there was video of him signing the search warrant. I have no idea who signed that search warrant.
so now it's your testimony that you don't know whether the consents are valid.
No, it's my testimony that you didn't supply discovery.
Boom.
On or about August 16th, did Chief Seymour advise you he was giving you a 3-day suspension?
I'm sorry, you cut out. Did you say August 16th?
On or about August 16th, did Chief Seymour advise you he was giving you a 3-day suspension?
I believe that is the date, August 16th of 2022.
And you attended that meeting with Jason Ray?
Correct.
And in your amended grievance, you wrote that Chief Seymour threatened to take you in front of the Police Merit Commission, correct?
Yes, and I actually solidified that during our deposition. It wasn't with force, like it wasn't a threat of force, like physical force, but I felt very much so threatened. I think it's actually stated in my audio.
So let's take a break here for a minute. Who would like to see a little bit of video of how South Bend treated Joy Phillips back from 2010? Give this a little bit of substance or background.
Yeah, this is in a traffic stop where they started cussing at her at the end or something about because she disregarded other units showing up to the scene. I mean, how many people do you need? But they didn't have the guy in cuffs or whatever, and then they started cussing her out. You'll have to listen closely at the end.
This is body cam footage. It's not going to be the greatest of quality, but let's check it out. Here we go. It's from 2010, guys.
Watch out, you can back up.
You move, I will shoot you in your fucking head!
Hold on. Let's stop this. Hey, quit! Give me my stop stick. Give me my stop stick down. police report. Open the door. I got you. Bless you. Give me your hand. I got a blessing. 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 You don't. I got a blessing. You're my gun. Give me your fucking. Come on. Lay on your back. You're going to start. I got a PlayStation for sausage. I got a PlayStation for sausage. Lane, stop it! I got it! I got it! Stop resisting! Stop resisting! Let me bring that on. Bring this on. We're resisting! We're resisting! Josh, really good. Let's fight. Give me your hand. Give me your hand. Stop fighting. Stop the fight. Raise your hand back. Stop fighting. Stop fighting. Stop resisting. Bring your hand back. All right. Bring that other one. All right, good. Oh, yeah, Adam. Okay. Grab this other hand and I'll switch. Good. Oh, fuck! Get on top of him. Get on top of him. Oh, guys. Coming right on up.
Vertical unit, signal 4.
Don't be fighting. Just hold on a second. Step it up. All right, I got it over. Hey, bring that arm over. And that breakers. All right, I got this one. Motherfucker. You all right, Slade? I'm fine. No. Hey. Oh, shit. Oh, shit, first shot. Stop fighting! Stop fighting! We need to get Slake's big ass off so we can get him cuffed. Hey, you ready to get me out of here? Yeah. I'm peeling off. You got that cuff, man? Yeah. Get your fucking arm. I'm peeling off. Oh, dude, we ready to do? Ready? I can't see. I'm peeling off. What? Let me up. What? Oh, shit. Oh, here we go, baby. Oh, I ain't got it. Ah! Put your hand behind your back! What's wrong, Arnie? I got his arm.
We have enough officers here.
No, we don't. No, you're not a shit yet. Don't be fucking still not in them yet.
Yes, better act. How about this? You want something done? You want to sit around outside?
You don't need a fucking still man people out here. We didn't have him talk yet.
And that is how they talk to their own, even. So you can, don't be surprised she's feeling a little vindictive. She's upset with the way she was treated. They did this to her for, I don't know, 16, 17 years. She was employed by South Bend. I mean, would you guys take it? Or would you find a way to fight back? I don't know about you, but I'm finding a way to fight back right now by doing
Well, you would
whatever I can.
expect, after all the transgressions of the Elkhart Police Department, beating the guy in the chair, the Elkhart Wolverines gang being revealed, the wrongful convictions, I mean, just years and years of like egregious behavior. Wouldn't you expect that one of the officers would become a whistleblower? Let's be honest. I mean, somebody's going
I,
to speak out. I'd hope.
and they acting like they're so surprised about it too. That's
Well, they're
like,
firing her because they're covering their own rear end. That's why they had to take her to the merit commission and everything. These hearings are under judicial review or whatever. It's not over. She's still got, like the special prosecutor in either Kosciuszko or Marshall County. There's none of this is over. That's why, as you notice, the chief of police, Seymour, every detective that came into these hearings, every one of them basically took the Fifth Amendment that they wouldn't comment on it because they're all under investigation, including the prosecutor.
everyone that's went up to that stand to talk, with the exception of Joy Phillips, is under investigation.
That's correct. It's almost like, isn't it crazy how it's designed for all of these people to go in there and just, feed themselves to the head of the snake that they are? I mean,
Let that sink in too, guys. The fact that this special counsel, this special commission, is under judicial review. What's that tell you about the corruption within this commission? Even this is a commission that's supposed to hold cops accountable.
everything they said's on record. I mean, the prosecutor was calling this city attorney saying she didn't want any of this broadcast to the public. I mean, it's all in their own words. I didn't say it. My ears rose up, like my eyes poked out of my head. Like, are you kidding?
Right.
They said this on the record under oath. Okay, well, I mean, tells you their
Homegrown.
intent all the way.
Due to the corruption in South Bend and in Elkhart, how many cops do you think they let her arrest? Let's just say it that way. I'm trying to play devil's advocate here because
These merit commissions show you that they don't arrest them. They just bring them in front of these merit commissions, and then they draw out these investigations, and they refer it to the prosecutor that protects the powers that be, and then they refuse to file charges. That's what happens. They don't get arrested. I mean, if she was to arrest this officer, the prosecutor, Vicki Becker, they're not friends.
she would just sit in. She would sit in the interrogation and be like, "Oh, there's nothing here. Let them go."
Yeah. From her,
and then they would go the next day to their 9 o'clock tea time.
Probably her WebEx screen from New Paris at her house. She probably never leaves home.
Some of you guys saw that, where the former chief of police said he didn't answer a summons to arrive in court because he had a 9 o'clock tea time for golf.
Absolutely. That was his sworn testimony. And he showed
That was
up
his
in
words.
His favorite Maui shirt.
His Maui laser shirt and shorts and penny loafers.
Yep.
Guys, they wouldn't let her do her job correctly at all. She is the reason she is the reason this whole situation is happening, because she was trying to expose bad cops, negligent cops, harassment. They were committing crimes inside the police department. against her, and she's trying to expose it, trying to do the right thing, and look what they're doing to her.
Well, you ever walked in the police department and tried to submit a citizen's complaint?
Yeah.
They're not very open with you trying to submit that complaint. They try to get more information out of you so they can do damage control than they do to redress the issues. So you see that with her, like there was some sexual harassment. There's that Weir or whatever, that Detective Weir she said was bothering her all that time.
Yep.
I mean, this is years of sitting in an office you're supposed to be taking these cases serious, man. Like when you put on that uniform and that badge and you come in that office, you're representing the city. You're not representing yourself to act like a jackass and a playbaby back there and make a mockery of the system. That's what they're doing. And now, like I said, I don't know if she's wrong, but they didn't submit much that she did, except for the whistleblower factor of it. And then everything they stated with her recording pertains to a personal communication device.
The only thing that they have admitted that she did wrong was insubordination for not filing the fucking search warrant, the affidavit of facts for the search warrant. It's the only thing they are claiming she did wrong. That, and like famously said, the personal recording device. They're trying to say that's a policy violation, but they can't bring up anything that she did that was a violation other than that.
Well, I don't think she disseminated any of that recording stuff to anybody but her attorney, is what she said. So it didn't come out until these merit commission hearings, and then I think the city attorney got midway through these hearings and thought, this shit's backfiring on us. I mean, look at the new chief, just sits there. If you see his face, I mean, he's got that look on his face like, they signed me up for this bullshit.
I wish I had a tea time tomorrow.
Yeah, it's probably what he's thinking. Like, oh God, he really did.
Yep.
They talk to each other at their little get-togethers and stuff out in the garage or whatever.
Absolutely.
I'm wearing this in there tomorrow. Right, what he was wearing after he got off the golf cart, half sloshed. I'm going in there in this. I'm going home, sleeping on the couch, waking up, and going in there in this Maui shirt.
Yep.
Flip-flops, corns hanging off my toes and everything.
This shit runs deep, guys. We're just touching the surface of it. Like, you guys have no idea. I've sat and talked to famously in depth about a lot of this shit. It has nothing to do with this right here, just other shit, and it's unreal. And we can show it all. We can prove it all. Everything has a paper trail. Everything we talk about, we tell you is going on. We can prove.
Did you hear the prosecutor? She said she doesn't know how far back her records go. Well, they should go back and say, since you were elected.
At minimum.
What are you doing deleting your records? Like, you might want to preserve those, because I think Elliot Slozar and Andy Royer and numerous people might need to see those records. So you might want to preserve those, Vicky. There you go. So, or resign.
Two Fry. Episode 5 is back up. After this panel, after this episode is done, I suggest you go watch it. It is back up for now. Because of the 7-minute video I played, there was a copyright strike on it. I asked for a review of that, so it is back up for now. And if they take it back down, I will clip that part out of there, which will take away the chat. But everything relevant will be posted on the screen. That's why I highlight everything. So let's go back to the video, guys. Again, everything we talk about, we can prove. Watch the chat for comments that are highlighted. Watch the screen. They'll show up there. That's why I highlight them in case the video gets, struck for some stupid reason. But I see you guys in the chat. Thank you all for coming in. Here we go.
I'm going to show you your amended grievance and ask you to read the highlighted portion on page 6.
The threat of taking me in front of the merit board if I do not sign the discipline, along with admitting that there was never an investigation or violations of Lexipol, collective bargaining agreement, and my officer bill of rights.
So you were accusing Chief Seymour of violations of policy.
Yes, actually, I have the email.
And that was because he had threatened to take you in front of the Police Merit Commission, correct?
Becoming in front of the Police Merit Commission means that I'm about to get disciplined. So yes, that is a threat.
But in fact, he never threatened you in that meeting, correct?
Oh, no, that's a threat. It was implied, and I took it as such.
Can we play Chief's Exhibit 21A, please?
Because if I don't take the 3 days, you take me in front of the merit board.
I'm not taking you anywhere.
No, I just know what's going to happen. And if I don't, but I take a 3-day suspension, that gives you progressive discipline. And I can get my 3 days back through the FOP. I already know that. So then you have a record, a tarnished record.
I'm not taking you anywhere.
You shouldn't be taking me here.
That decision's totally up to you.
And Chief, you shouldn't be taking me here either.
I'm not taking you anywhere.
You shouldn't be giving me a 3 days
Why is that?
suspension because I didn't earn it.
You wrote in your amended grievance that Chief Seymour told you that he called Vicki Becker to see whether you would be a Brady, correct?
I did write that in there, yes.
In fact, that's not true, correct?
That he called Vicki Becker, I don't know.
It's not true that he told you he had a conversation with Vicki Becker about you, correct?
I don't know. I was actually quite confused. And still today, I can't tell you if he had a conversation with her about me or not. There was a lot of conversation about Vicki Becker and conversations and phone calls being made and whether or not it was about Carl Conway or myself. You can play a snippet all you want, but we're probably better off playing the entire video.
I'm showing you your amended grievance. I believe that's Chief's 8. If you could read the portion I just marked for you, the second paragraph on page 5.
Chief Seymour advised that he had contacted Elkhart County Prosecutor Vicki Becker to inquire that if my signing the discipline notice and accepting his sustained policy violations, agreeing to the 3-day suspension would make me a Brady Giglio officer, and she said no.
If you could please now play Chief's Exhibit 21B.
Because now it's been adjudicated and it's gone. That was one of the things that I asked about Conway in the case that he lied about you. Does that make him? I called Vicki and I said, does that make him Brady? She said no. I said lying in a disciplinary.
I've always been informed that with anything to do with law enforcement related, especially if you're being investigated.
Not based on what she told me. I mean, that's why they argue the law. There might be another lawyer that says absolutely.
And I know over time that her interpretation or whatever you want to say of it is different than what we've kind of been under the impression of, I would say internally. And so whenever we've contacted her about certain things like that, just for other officers that we've gotten answers that are kind of like surprises to us, I think, as far as things go, that necessarily what we thought that would be a Brady officer, that she would come back and go, no, it's not because of this or whatever.
So that was actually the first phone call I made, was to see if that was going to make him a Brady, and she said no. And they spelled it out to me, which I was under the same impression.
Well, but I guess, I mean, not that it's important, but I think obviously the situation dictated, and I think he officially is now then because of the fact that it's in court.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, back to me, not to personalize it, but
Sounds pretty clear you understood the conversation was not about you, correct?
Yes, but what you're missing is the part where I'm obviously distracted and not listening to him and Ray talk because I'm still trying to ponder why I'm catching a discipline of 3 days for something I didn't do.
On July
If you play
12th,
the whole thing, you can actually ascertain that.
on July 12th, 2022, Sergeant Roundtree sent you to Cobus Green to interview a witness, correct?
Correct.
And you went to the home you were told to go to, correct?
Yes,
And you knocked on the door, correct?
correct,
And you left your business card, correct?
correct.
And you called Sergeant Roundtree, correct?
At some point in time, that time, yes, I did call him, and I don't know if it was before or after Cobus.
And you called your husband, correct?
I did call my husband.
And you drove back to EPD, correct?
I drove back to get my purse, yes.
Well, is it normal to claim overtime to go back to PD to pick up your purse?
My drive time, yes. And it has to be approved by a supervisor, so.
So you usually claim overtime when you're driving back to PD to pick up your purse? Is that what you just said?
No, when I'm called in, like I was, then it goes from the beginning to the end.
So when you drove back to PD to pick up your purse, you claimed overtime, correct?
Correct. I had to go back there to get my bag.
Is that normal?
To respond to the department to pick up my personal property, yes.
You claim paid time for that?
I'm there, so yes.
It's appropriate to claim paid time to drive back to EPD to pick up your personal belongings?
I don't think that you quite understand that, like, members of our like SWAT team, if they get paid 8 hours, when 4 hours they're physically at training, the other 4 hours they're at their house. A call-in is a mandatory 2 hours overtime paid, whether you even physically show up or not. So yeah, it's to ascertain that me driving back to my house and ending it at the time I get home is not, it's not deceptive. That's just the way we were trained. And also a supervisor has to approve my overtime slip, so.
Isn't it true that when you got back to the PD, you called Detective Payne?
I called him at some point in time. I don't know.
So if you told Jason Ray that when you got back to the PD and saw nobody was there, you called Detective Payne, would that be a lie?
We had a conversation sometime after I discovered that no one else was there. I wanted an update on what was going on. So that wouldn't be a lie.
So I'm going to read from Chief's Exhibit 33, the transcription of your conversation with Jason Ray. Well, I come back to the department and they're both gone, so I call Payne. I said, bro, what did I miss? You guys are already gone. I fucking went to the trailer park, came back, and inaudible, already gone. He goes, yeah, Joy, I interviewed this chick. She is not the owner of the business. She is the daughter of the owner of the business. And she pulled into the lot and saw this car leaving and decided to fucking chase it. So that was you talking to Detective Payne about the case, correct?
I have no idea. That is, you said transcription, and I believe it was just a paragraph that someone had typed out. So I can't.
That's what you told Jason Ray, correct?
I have no idea. If you want to play the audio, by all means.
If we could go ahead and play Exhibit 33. Sorry, actually, the audio clip would be 32.
I get to Cobus Green, I knock on the door, and there's actually a recording of it, okay? Me knocking on the door, and I didn't realize that I'm still recording, so I get on the phone with my husband, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what's going on here. I said, I'm getting fucking pulled in every direction, and I don't, it's because I call Roundtree and said, hey, there's no knock at this, like, no one's answering. Put my business card in it, and Roundtree's like, you know what, Joe, I appreciate you. Keep saying it over and over and over again, and the way he's saying it to me is fucking condescending, okay? So I said to him, I said, Brandon, Dude, don't talk to me like that, okay? I'm not one of your fucking guys. I ain't gonna sit there and take your shit. I know you don't mean it in a sincere manner, okay?
Right.
I find it to be disrespectful. He keeps saying it in the conversation, but he manages to tell me that he's going to get a search warrant for Grant's phone. And I said, what?
Right.
You know, what do you mean Grant's phone? And he's like, you know what, don't worry about it. You just go home. Click. Well, I come back to the department and they're both gone. So I call Payne. I said, bro, what did I miss? You guys are already gone? I fucking went to the trailer park, came back, and that's how they're already gone. He goes, yeah, Joy, I interviewed this chick. She's not the owner of the business. She is the daughter of the owner of the business. And she pulled into the lot and saw this car leaving and decided to fucking chase it. I go, she make any mention of gunplay or anything like that? He's like, no. I said, well, I didn't think she would.
Right.
And I said, J. Ray talked to the guy at the
Okay. Thank you.
a lot. His friend came out walking from between.
Do you recall being interviewed by Lieutenant Rathel?
For the,
Regarding an investigation into a sergeant regarding your deleted body camera video?
yes,
And Lieutenant Rathel works in the Office of Professional Standards, correct?
correct.
And the investigation was into whether this sergeant had deleted the body camera video in violation of policy, correct?
I have no idea what he was being charged with.
And you told Lieutenant Rathel that the body camera was, quote, not within the duty of my profession, just me off duty driving home, correct?
Yeah, the phone conversation was private with my husband.
But it was within the duty of your profession, correct?
Don't know how.
And you were at the door of a witness, correct?
That was the wrong address, so no.
Sergeant Roundtree had sent you to that address, correct?
The wrong address, correct.
And you left your business card, correct?
Correct, on the wrong address.
So you weren't there on your personal time, correct?
That time would have been no problem I wasn't out in public. I wasn't interacting with public as the policy states. So me merely knocking on the door, the wrong address is not evidentiary. It's me knocking on the door, the wrong address is not interacting with public.
But
That's
it was
what-
you within the duty of your profession, correct?
Then that's the part that was captured on film. I wasn't doing anything. So no, technically not, because I was at the wrong address and I didn't conduct any official business.
And you were claiming overtime for that period of time, correct?
Correct, I did. Actually underreported because I think that the camera went to 1902.
So it was you on duty in the duty of your profession, correct?
That's your opinion, if that's how you want to call it. If someone would have called me and I would have had to go deal with something else, then yes, I'd go on duty and I would go assist them. But I believe that there's no objection that Sergeant Roundtree had sent me home.
I'm loath to interrupt, but we're coming up on a hard break in about 5 minutes.
I'm almost done.
You're done?
Almost done, yeah.
Almost done.
Yep, I won't be 5 more minutes. You will agree you told Lieutenant Rathel that you and the sergeant watched the entire video, correct?
Yeah, that's not in the way that was stated. It was about the audio of my husband. The privileged conversation, I allowed the sergeant to listen to the privileged conversation, something I didn't have to do, but I did to show that there wasn't anything deceptive about it.
Can you go ahead and play Exhibit 27C?
Gotcha. So sometime after 12, you asked him to delete it. Did you provide him the reasoning?
Yeah, it was a conversation with my husband and I, so.
Okay.
And he reviewed it, so, with me before deleting it, so he could prove what it was.
So you guys reviewed it together?
Mhm.
Do you remember when you guys reviewed it together?
No, how far back does the cameras go? Because you might see me, I went to his office to do it, so, I mean, I do visit with him often, so.
Okay.
I can't give you an exact
Sure.
date, I'm sorry.
Okay. And
But he put the notations in there that, why he deleted it after reviewing it, so.
so you've seen him put notations in?
Mhm.
Okay. And how much of this video did you guys review? 5 seconds, the whole thing?
The whole thing, so he got to see what it was, and he saw that it was a conversation between my husband and I, and so he put notations in it. I don't know, like, how.
So we can agree that you lied to Lieutenant Rathel when you said he reviewed the whole thing?
No, it's your interpretation that that means the entire 19-minute video I was referring to the phone call specifically because that's the reason why I asked them to delete it.
So that 19-minute video did contain work-related content?
No, the interesting part is I didn't even know that it went on that long. I have no idea what it captured or didn't capture, so I'm not going to agree to what it was. You took an audio of me talking to Jason Ray about events that occurred on that day. I didn't have a timeline. You didn't even tell me when that recording was from Jason Ray. So there's no date. Was I given more information and then talk openly with my FOP representative? And so therefore it's interesting, the play on words and when things occurred or what was said or done. I didn't lie to professional standards.
You started the camera on purpose, correct?
Which time?
To record work-related material?
I got out of the car. I have a habit of turning on my recorder. Yes.
Because you were about to go knock on the door of a witness, correct?
Yes.
On November 1st, 2022, when ordered to leave your personal recorder, you refused that order, correct?
Correct.
On November 1st, 2022, when ordered to sit down and wait for legal to be called, you refused that order, correct?
Correct.
No further questions.
This point of break.
Yes, sir. Yes, please.
All right, we will take a 45-minute break. We'll resume 1 o'clock sharp.
Thank you.
And we got a quick little video here that we're going to show you.
Elkhart tonight. Details tonight in the case of Elkhart Police Detective Joy Phillips. The Police Merit Commission there voting unanimously to fire her today. This comes after Phillips was accused of 14 different offenses, including making untruthful statements to superiors and mishandling confidential investigatory information. However, Phillips claims the allegations were all retaliation for not signing off on what she thought was an unlawful search warrant. That is. Detective Phillips even testified and provided this body camera footage allegedly showing.
Yes, this is all fair use. Let me just put my own little touch on it here. We'll break real quick. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
Officers barricading her inside the police department after she tried to leave with a personal recording device. Today, Elkhart Police Chief Dan Milanese saying in a statement to ABC 57 News, quote, "While we know these types of decisions are difficult to make, we appreciate the Commission's dedication to not only the profession of law enforcement, but also to the people of Elkhart," unquote. A hearing is now set for this October to determine if a special prosecutor should be appointed for the criminal confinement allegations made by Detective Phillips.
So there we have it, guys. It just, the rabbit hole never stops. It's an endless rabbit hole.
That's them.
So we've got more of this video to go. There's just under 4 hours left of this one. We're right about the halfway part. We'll probably split that up into 2 sections. We'll do 2 more episodes of this, and then we'll see what else we can find.
Yep.
That's not me, Matt R. He can't mute the background. He's on a Bluetooth headset. Hold on. He's still kind of new at this, man. He's not the panel type of guy, man. He just likes going out there and putting the clowns on fucking camera. But no, we're gonna fucking end this right now, I think. Yeah.
Well, in the words of Elkhart Mayor, not my job.
All right.
Another thing I like to point out is that most of these people that are elected in Elkhart County, if you look when you go to vote, they run uncontested. So even if you don't vote for them, whatever vote they get, they're elected. So that's the sad part about it. And we're supposed to have attorneys around here that, aren't puppets of the court, that should be standing up to these egregious violations of the Constitution. But we don't have that either. They'll tell you when you call them that they have to work in these courts every day, and You know, they look at the courthouse as their place of employment instead of their law firm.
Right. Yep. Kevin Lucas, welcome in. Angry Vet, Matt R, Dreamy In, Homegrown, Chopper. Hey, I appreciate everybody for coming in. Again, episode 5 is now back up. You guys can go back and watch it now if you missed it. Episode 6 here, it'll stay up. All these are going to stay up unless they put some fake privacy strikes or something shit on them. But I do appreciate everybody for coming in. I appreciate continued support. Guys, go back and watch the other episodes if you've missed them. There's a lot of information. And again, I will highlight information and put it on screen so you guys can see it, just in case we have to edit it out and the chat goes away. If the chat's still there, the information is still there. I don't really have anything else to say other than thank you all so very much for being here. Got anything else, Famously?
No, just share it, clip it, make some videos of it, get it out there. It's public information. That's what it's for.
Please share it. Please share it. We need everybody to see this. Yep. We're not doing this to get notoriety. We're not doing this for anything else. Yes, I will say that, you know what? The trolls are right about something. We're doing this for clicks and views. Absolutely.
Right.
Everybody, the more people that can see it, the better off we are.
Yeah, I'm not worried about all that, but clip it, share it, do what you guys got to do. It's public information. This is what your tax dollars pay for each and every one of them people sitting there. Even the commission. It all falls right out of the pockets of the taxpayer in the end. If they got all this time to go through these commissions and do this for 3 days, then they damn sure got a lot of time to go through the cases that were mishandled and the cases that are still unsolved to this day.
Wrongful convictions. Yeah. Just think about that for a second too. The more wrongful conviction cases that come in, that's that many more unsolved crimes that they're going to have to deal with. So they're doubling their workload, but they have to waste time on what seems like in appearance, it seems like it's a good cop trying to expose bad cops. So they want to waste 24 hours worth of video on that, but don't want to review some of these corrupt cops' cases. That's a big problem. It's a big, big problem. Hell yeah, Leo. If you guys aren't subscribed to Leo Watcher, please do so. Thank you for your for all the information you put in the chat, Leo. Good work. Appreciate that. So, all right, guys. There's his link. Go sub him up. Let's help him get 2,000, guys. Share his channel out there. Tell everybody you know that Leo does some good work. We appreciate you, Leo.
If you didn't know that dash cam video we just watched a little bit ago, you can thank Leo Watcher for finding that one.
Yep, that was all credit goes to Leo Watcher for that dash cam video, guys, where they treated Joy Phillips like shit, talked to her like a dog. So, all right, guys, that's where we're at. Much love.
Brutality in it, you know. That's the old days of call everybody on the force to pile on you. 200-pound officer times 6 is how many pounds? 1,200 pounds on your chest cavity.
That's a ton.
Kind of hard to breathe, especially in the cold. You ever been in the cold and breathed hard?
Yeah, it sucks. All right, guys. Much love, peace, and bacon grease. Appreciate y'all. Y'all stay safe. Till next time. I'm Midwest Accountability, and I'm with Famously Unfamous and Leo Watcher. Y'all have a good night. See ya.